Hello, my name's Sue and today I'm going to tell you a Bantu tale from Africa, and I first read this story in a book by Celia Barker-Lottridge many years ago, but I also have heard Bob Hartman tell his version of the story at the Edinburgh Book Festival. It's called The Name of the Tree. Once, long ago, in the land of the short grass, there was a great hunger. No rain fell and no grass grew. The ostrich, the gazelle, the giraffe, the monkey, the elephant, the rabbit, the tortoise and the zebra and all the other animals became really hungry. They searched in the jungle. They searched by the river. They searched on the great flat plain, but they could find nothing that they could eat. At last, all the animals gathered together and they said, "Let's cross the great flat plain and just keep going until we find something to eat." And so that's what they did. Every animal, apart from the lion, because he was king and lived in the jungle, set off across the great flat plain. They walked and they walked and they walked. After many days, they saw a small bump on the edge of the land. As they got closer to it, they saw that it was a tree. And the tree was very tall. And at the top of the tree, in the branches, there was fruit like they'd never seen before. It was as red as pomegranates, as yellow as bananas, as green as melons, as purple as plums, and as orange as mangoes. And it smelled, like all the fruits of the world. But the tree was so tall and the branches were so high that even the giraffe couldn't reach it. And the trunk was so smooth that even the monkey couldn't climb it. The animals sat on the ground and cried because the fruit smelled so good and they were so hungry. At last, when they were too tired to cry any more, a very, very old tortoise spoke up. "Oh, animals," the very old tortoise said. "My great-great-great-grandmother told me a wonderful story once about a tree just like this. It too had high branches and delicious fruit to eat, but it could only be reached by those who knew the name of the tree." And all the animals said, "But who will tell us the name?" The very old tortoise said, "The king. The king will know the name. We should send someone to ask him." "I'll go," said the gazelle. "I'm the fastest runner. No one can run faster than I can." And all the animals nodded. It was true. And so the gazelle shot off across the great flat plain. He ran like an arrow shot from a bow. And as he was running, he thought to himself, all the rest of the animals should be really pleased that I'm willing to go, because no one can run faster than I can. And soon enough, he arrived at the jungle in the place by the river where the king lived. The king was sitting in his usual place with his tail neatly wrapped around him. Every hair on his golden coat was smooth and shining. He spoke kindly to the gazelle. "What is it you wish of me?" he said. "Oh, king," said the gazelle, "all the animals were really hungry, so we went across the great flat plain and we have found this tree with delicious fruit upon it, but we can't reach the fruit unless we know the name of the tree." "I can tell you the name of the tree," said the king kindly, "but you must remember it, because I don't want to have to tell anybody else. The name of the tree is Ungali." Ungali, said the gazelle, Ungali. I'll run back as quickly as possible to the tree so I can't possibly forget it. And so the gazelle thanked the king and ran back really quickly across the great flat plain. And as he was running, he was thinking to himself, oh, everyone's going to be so grateful for what I've done and so thankful. They're really going to appreciate what I've done. And he was so busy thinking about this that he didn't see the rabbit hole directly in his path just before he'd get to the tree. And his hoof stumbled in it and he went head over hoof over head over hoof over head over hoof and landed in a heap by the tree. All the animals ran to him. What's the name of the tree? What's the name of the tree? They said. The gazelle shook his head. He shook his head again. No, the name had gone. I can't remember, he whispered. Oh, all the animals groaned. Oh, we'll have to send someone else, they said. Someone who won't forget. I'll go, said the elephant. I never forget anything. And everyone nodded. It was true. And so the elephant strode off across the great flat plain. I can remember everything, she said to herself as she went. I can remember all the names of my cousins. And the elephant had hundreds of cousins. I can remember all the names of the stars in the sky. And so she arrived at the jungle in the place by the river where the king lived. The king was in his usual place, but this time the tip of his tail was just twitching a little and his fur was slightly ruffled. What do you want? He growled. Well, said the elephant, all the animals were really hungry. I know, said the king rather crossly. And you want me to tell you the name of the tree. I will tell you, but you must remember because I am not going to tell anyone else. The name of the tree is Ungali. I never forget anything, said the elephant haughtily, and strode off, back, heading through the jungle. Oh, fancy thinking that I forget things, said the elephant. Why, I could name all of the trees in this jungle, she said. And so she started to name them. And when she'd finished that, she started to list all of the names of the trees in Africa. And when she'd done that, she was just starting to name all the trees in the rest of the world where she had crossed the great flat plain. And she too did not see that rabbit hole, the exact same rabbit hole that the gazelle had stumbled in, and her foot fitted it exactly, and she got it stuck in the hole. All the animals saw the elephant coming and ran to her. What's the name of the tree? They said. The elephant was busy pulling and tugging and pulling and tugging until, pop, her foot came out of the hole. I don't remember, she said crossly. And frankly, I don't care. This tree has caused more problems than it's worth. The animals didn't even groan. They were too hungry and too tired. After a long time, a very young tortoise started to speak. I'll go, he said. I know how to remember things. I'll go and ask the name of the tree. You, said the animals, but you are so very young, and you are so very small, and you are so very slow. But I know how to remember things, said the very young tortoise. Well, the animals had nothing to say, and the tortoise had already started heading off. It's true, he was very slow, but by putting one short leg in front of the other, one short leg in front of the other. Time and time again, he worked his way across the great flat plain and into the jungle, and at last to the place by the river where the king lived. The king wasn't in his usual place. He was pacing up and down the river bank, and his tail was waving wildly, and his hair was all on end. And when he saw the very young tortoise, he roared, "Why have you come here? If you have come here to know the name of the tree, then just go home. I've already told the gazelle and I've already told the elephant that the name of the tree is Ungali, and I am not going to tell you." The tortoise just smiled, nodded politely, and turned away and headed back out of the jungle. And as he walked, he said to himself, "Ungali, Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali, 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 the name of the tree is Ungali." And he kept saying it, "Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali." And he never stopped, "Ungali, Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali." And he didn't stop even when he was hungry, and he didn't stop even when he was thirsty. Ungali, Ungali, because that is what his great-great-great-grandmother had told him to do. Ungali, Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali. And he even kept saying it when he fell into the very same rabbit hole that the gazelle and the elephant had fallen in. Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali. He just climbed out again. Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali, Ungali. None of the animals saw him coming. They were all sitting under the tree looking at the ground. And so the very young tortoise walked in amongst them and said in a very loud and clear voice, "The name of the tree is Ungali." And all the animals looked up, and they saw the branches draw themselves down so low that all the animals could reach the fruit that was as red as pomegranates, as yellow as bananas, as green as melons, as purple as plums, and as orange as mangoes, and that smelled like all the fruits of the world. Oh. And the animals ate. They ate all the fruit until they were full. And when they had finished, they lifted the tortoise high above their heads and walked around the tree chanting, "Ungali, Ungali, the name of the tree is Ungali, 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 the name of the tree is Ungali," because they never wanted to forget. The name of the tree is Ungali, and they never did. The name of the tree is Ungali, 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 the name of the tree is Ungali. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that story. I love the rhythms in that, and I love the way that the tortoise learns something while he walks. When I've got to learn things, poems, stories, lines for a play, I nearly always do that when I'm walking along, because I really find that having a rhythm helps me memorise things. So if you ever have to learn anything, it might be worth trying to do it with a rhythm, or while you're walking or running, or there's some sort of beat. See you next time. Bye.